Yeah, and Danielle also.
Hopefully
Yeah,
a week
yeah.
before.
So listen, here we go. So go ahead. I want you to put the pin the screen on our guest speaker, Emanuel Shahaf. And if you can, Emanuel, can open the microphone. There we go. And if you can pin screen, there we go. Yeah, that's fine. That's fine. That's fine. Okay. So this is our guest, Emanuel Shahaf. And I found him indirectly. It was interestingly enough, I found the name in an article in the Jewish Journal some time ago about outreach to younger Jews and also non-Jews, written by, it was, turns out, the daughter of my second cousin, so I know very well. And then there was another article about something called Federation, written by her and Emanuel Shahaf, also in the Jewish Journal. I said, well, this is a good topic. So I had an interview with with Rebecca Silfan, that was her name, during Yom Kippur. We put it on our program. And then I said, let's have this discussion. This is very interesting. So I'm going to let Emanuel tell us more about it. But to say some things in common, we're both Yekes, both German-born, Deutsche Kulturkreise, German culture. It's something that I left when I was 3. He was a teenager, young adult when he left, and came to Israel in 1972. And he published a book about his background. It was a very lively book. I'll tell you where to find it. When I read through it and I see that his father and my father were neighbors. Where? In the same prison in Berlin, Brandenburg, Zuchthaus. It was under the Nazis, and odds are that they knew each other. They knew each other. They were both in under the same scam that the Nazis used to capture people they didn't want. So anyway, so he studied aeronautics at the Technion and in the United States at the Rensselaer-Polytech, his Bachelor of Science, Master of Science, and Advanced Studies. And then for 79 to 86, he was in the engineering staff officer at the Israeli Air Force. And then in his biography, he says, officially, he joined the office of the Prime Minister in Tel Aviv. It turns out when you said the office of the Prime Minister, you mean you're a spook. Is that the right word? Right? From John Le
Close enough.
Right? Okay. So security conscious way, because you don't want to say that he's worked in intelligence officer as an intelligence officer in the Mossad. And I guess, I don't know, you didn't have any escapades like in the TV series Tehran. Not quite that.
But I didn't write about them.
Okay. Okay. But interesting stories, interesting things. And like I read in the story, everybody in Mossad is in as Aleph, Bet, Gimel, right? ABC. I don't know what handle you had. We won't reveal it, but it's been enough years, it's probably okay. But tell me, everybody in the Mossad writes a book about their experience of spill the beans. The last one was the last chief of the Mossad. I don't know why they do that. Spill all the beans, the secrets. Okay, but you didn't. I looked at it. Didn't spill any big secrets. So you went on then, finished your stint of service and went to business relations in Indonesia. That's out of your experience in the Mossad. And then also involved yourself with the Labor Party, and you've been in that since the 1990s. And then in 2008 to 2012, you've been in the Central Committee. You were Chief of Staff for Shelley Yachimovich when she was running for campaign as the head of the party. And then also a member of Democrats, a political action group, a kind of left of center, trying to, I guess, revert to some of the labor roots in the word labor, possible, because that was removed many years ago, I remember. I was involved with the Istadrut as they were removing the word social from the party. So he promotes the federation as an approach, a realistic approach to resolve the conflict with Palestinians in the land of Israel. And so he's involved with an organization called Federation.org, and also something else very interesting I saw, Israel Movement, which is a kind of way to revive political engagement in a positive way in Israel proper. To some extent, some of the solutions in your federation are solutions that the Israelis have been looking for themselves in terms of how to make the parliamentary system better reflect the needs of the citizens. CEO of Technology Asia Consulting, Vice Chairman Israel-Indonesia Chamber of Commerce, Vice Chairman Israel-German Society. And so a lot of this I pulled out from his book, Identity, Quest for Israel's Future, available on Amazon. You live with your partner, Shosh, Warsaw, in Herut, Israel, somewhere near Ra'anana. I take it Ra'anana to Netanya. That's all right. And grandfather to Noam and Chen, and helped raise Elad, Doram, and Arad. Grandfather to 9 children. See, that's something else we share, nine grandchildren. So now, to our topic. We're in the month of November. So from the Jewish perspective, it's a very portentous month. The 1917, the Balfour Declaration. Okay, I will not go into too much of the history. And then 1947, also November 1947, the UN resolved, right? And it was a Solomonic decision, take the land of Palestine, cut it in half, like Solomon's take the baby, cut it in half. And the Jews were willing to accept half a baby. But the Arabs insisted on all, for themselves only, none for the Jews. And of course, it ended, the Arabs end up with none, 48 and 67. And since the Oslo Accords, there was always been an international consensus that there'd be 2 independent states, which doesn't seem to go anywhere. And everybody recognizes it's not going anywhere. As much as the Biden White House says they'd like 2 states, everybody knows it's not going anywhere. So now there are really 3 entities. We know there's Israel, the Palestinian Authority, and Hamastan in Gaza. So, and we also know too well what happened after the Oslo Accords, the blowing up of public buses and the bloody second intifada, all done under the auspices of our partner, Yasser Arafat. And then what happens when you do one-sided withdrawal, as from Gaza, and you get missiles in exchange. So to give it short, I'm going to let you take from here. I'll ask you a series of questions. And basically, how do we split the baby, the land of Israel, with King Solomon's wisdom, and still keep it and the people in it alive? So, and certainly it requires thinking out of the box. So number one, what do you mean by federation?
Well, federation, first of all, thank you for having me on your Shabbat service. It's definitely a first for me to participate in the service and also to hear God Bless America sung as part of the service. It's great being here. What I mean by federation is a federated country, a country similar to the United States in the basic form of government, similar to about 30 other countries in the world, like Germany, like Brazil, like Argentina. There are plenty of those countries around. A country with regional government, with a constitution. That's basically it. Separation into Länder or provinces or cantons, like we choose to do. So no much difference there. There may be some. So every federation has things in common and has also some differences, and we have to tailor our federation. And there may be some differences with regard to religion, but other than that, it should be the same.
So what would make that different from a one-state solution? In what sense?
Well, first of all, it basically is a one-state solution, except that in our proposal, Gaza is not part of it for the simple reason that if Gaza is part of it, there won't be a federation because no Knesset in Israel will agree to a 50-50 demography. So we have to maintain a Jewish majority, and we do that by keeping Gaza separate as it is now, and as it has been also between 1947 and 1967, and also since 2005, Gaza is separate, so there's nothing new. And the rest of the country is between the Jordan River and the sea. That's a bigger Israel, so to speak.
So in other words, it would still have an Israeli aspect and control, especially for security. That's probably the biggest question, always.
Absolutely, yes. No, it will be. It will have a two-thirds to one majority, Jewish majority, and the population growth of both sectors of the population is pretty much identical. So that's not going to change over time, and also, or will not change in a major way over time. And by the time it won't make a difference to anybody anymore, I hope. And there's also a mechanism in the government with an upper house in the Knesset, which will make sure that it will be very difficult to change the power arrangement.
So that would make it different from, let's say, a Lebanon, where you had this tripartite division, Christian.
Yes, absolutely. Lebanon is not a good comparison. First of all, Lebanon is not a federation. They also have certain agreements between the different religions. It's not like that. We're going to be a democracy with a constitution, a secular country. The federation will be secular, but the provinces or the cantons will have the the shading of the population that lives there, the majority population. It will either be Jewish or Palestinian, Arab, or Druze, whatever.
So now you said about the Gaza Strip, but nobody wants it. The Egyptians don't want it. So how would you get them to be willing to be out of the picture?
Well, first of all, nobody wants them. But the only reason to the only way to deal with Gaza is really to provide it with what it needs to exist as a separate country. And that's not so difficult. Okay, the Gaza Strip is small and is densely populated. It's not that densely populated. Turns out there are areas which are more densely populated than Gaza. So there's enough land there, and if we give them an airport and a port and reasonable border arrangements and stop the blockade, it should be possible to work it out. And in my conversations with Palestinians, once that is established, they are not so resistant against the idea. They, of course, know the implications of leaving Gaza outside the political arrangement. They understand the demography, but they understand also why it can't be part of it.
So what about Jordan? Because Jordan was the landlord over the West Bank before '67, and up to 70% of the population Palestinian descent. And even some Palestinians, I've seen essays in was a Foreign Affairs magazine lately saying, why don't we just have Jordan take over the West Bank? Is that
that's very first of all, in 1988, basically King Hussein signed away the West Bank. He gave up all claims to the West Bank and gave them over to the Palestinians, and that's not going to go. It's not going to go back on that. I think the Jordan would be very happy if a Palestinian state would not come into being. For a lot of reasons, basically for stability reasons. So I don't think that's going to be much of an issue. As long as the Palestinians who do live in the West Bank have equal rights and full civil rights and economic opportunity, there's not going to be much resistance from Jordan, because that will make the situation much more stable than it is now.
They would not be a threat to the realm if they're living well.
Yeah, exactly. That wouldn't be that would not be an issue. Maybe the other way around, that the Palestinians in Jordan would want to come over, but that's another thing altogether. So
yeah. So now, yeah, I know I saw you have a map, and I've posted it on our.
Oh, you have it there, because I can share my screen. Do you want me to share my screen?
Share the screen for a second. Yeah.
Let me see. Let me see how that works.
It looks like.
Now you have disabled screen sharing. Anyway, it looks like. It looks like the land of Israel divided into 30 cantons. The blue cantons, if you have it in color there, the blue cantons are those which are Jewish majority. The green cantons are Palestinian majority. There are some islands in the Palestinian cantons which would be the Jewish settlements in the West Bank. That's if the settlers do not want to be part of the Palestinian cantons, they would be part of the next Jewish canton. When I say Jewish or Palestinian cantons, there would not be solely Jewish or solely Palestinian. There'll just be majority Palestinian and majority Jewish. So that's also.
So you're not creating a Judenrein entity in the West Bank.
No, absolutely not. No, all the cantons are mixed to this or that extent. And the number of cantons which we chose, we have 30 cantons, 20 of them Jewish majority, 10 Palestinian majority, is also can be changed. There's nothing special about the number 30. Usually, we took the Swiss model, and Switzerland has a similar number, similar population, and has about 26 cantons. So that worked for us, but it can be a smaller number, as long as the number of Jewish and Palestinian cantons represents the actual demography. Okay, so we have, in our case, twice as many Jewish cantons as Palestinian cantons, as the demography would indicate. That's really the only, and that they're clear majority, either Jewish or Palestinian. That's the only criteria.
What? Go ahead.
Somebody asking a question?
Yeah, yeah, wait, hold-
Okay.
I'll repeat. Okay, so let's say it's an interesting historic analogy. India was once a unitary entity under the British. They split into the Muslim majority Pakistan, later Bangladesh, and then the Hindu majority India. Oh, are we creating a situation like that? It would be a completely segregated state. I mean, Pakistan has almost no Hindus, for example. India has a lot of Muslims, but Pakistan, yeah, how do? So yeah, oh, if people are moving in and out, how would that occur? Well, they're not moving people. He's not moving people around.
Nobody's moving
Yeah,
anywhere.
yeah.
That's one of the advantages of the system.
No, in the India-Pakistan case, I think it was 100 million refugees were created.
Yeah.
Sure. Yeah, because they were afraid of each other. Each one, yeah, in both directions, yeah, yeah. No, so yeah, I think your case is nobody's going to really be in. I see. So if you have a Jewish majority area, would the Arabs run away? Probably not, because it's too comfortable. If you have a Muslim majority Arab, would the Jews run away? Possibly yes, because it's not as well to do. All right? Am I reading that correctly? Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So rephrase it in short, and then I'll. Okay, yeah, so would you have a problem of population movement in a significant, other than a few people moving in and out, as people would want to be here and not there? Or does your situation solve that you're proposing?
No, there's no problem. First of all, even today in Israel, the Arab population in Israel is free to move anywhere it wants. Okay, if they don't like where they are, they can move wherever they want to go, and they don't. They like where they are. Arabs like to live with Arabs, and Jews like to live with Jews. So there's going to be some movement, but there's not going to be a major movement, especially if the economy is going to boom, and which it will, in a situation like that, and it'll be easier to make good transportation from canton to canton. So people, and Israel's not a big country, so people can live where they like to live and work where they work. So there shouldn't be an issue.
Yeah. Now, Danielle had asked if we could see the map. I wasn't able to get the screen share. I don't know.
Let me see. You have to enable screen share, which we didn't. So I can't share.
Okay, so but I
Host disabled participant screen sharing. That's what it says for me.
That's
see.
okay. Thank you.
What does it say? Ah. So you can do it. Try. Give it a try.
I'll try again. Oh, now I can. Hold it. Just a second. Here we go. Can you see it?
There we go. Yeah.
Wow,
Yeah. So you can see
Okay.
the
that's
breakdown.
great.
Yeah, a lot green. Right. Go ahead.
Green is Palestinian. Blue is Jewish. Gold, it was supposed to be gold. It looks like yellow. That's Jerusalem. And the red area is the Gaza Strip. Okay, so these are the cantons we're proposing. There are 5 cantons, 5 Palestinian cantons in the West Bank, and there's another 5 Palestinian cantons in Israel proper. These lilac-colored cantons is the Druze canton. So that's what it looks like if we go with our system.
Okay. I assume outside that Jerusalem, the gold, there's a little small gold area. Is that Ma'ale Adumim?
Yes, that would be Ma'ale Adumim.
They're not going to give that back because they just opened a beautiful design center and a kids amusement.
No, they're not going to give
Right,
it back. My children live there. Some of my children live there, so they're not going to give it back.
There's
And
a
this piece here, I don't know whether you see my cursor. This piece here, this blue piece inside the green canton would be the Jewish settlements in the area. provided they don't want to be part of the Palestinian canton. Okay.
So that's the Gush Etzion, right? Is that
yeah, it would be Gush
right?
Etzion.
That was a historically Jewish section before 1948, and Hebron. That would be that would be in the middle of an Arab.
Hebron is somewhere down there.
Yeah.
It is, yeah.
So now
I'm going to try to move back. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. Now, what about, I see, now I'm looking at the map, and so some areas like Fahim, which are Israeli Arab, but historically have identified themselves as Palestinians. Is that in green?
Yeah, Fahim would be, let me see where it would be. Let me see, it should be somewhere around in this area. It's not, we have, hold it. Can't find it now.
Yeah,
but it's green.
That's probably 21.
Here it is, number 7. Number 7. We are number 7. Where's number 7? Can anybody see number 7? Number 7.
Wadi Ara, yeah.
Wadi Ara. So somewhere should be here somewhere. Can't find it now.
Yeah, okay. Somewhere in that area. Yeah, and then also the Northern Galilee, which is heavily Arab. I see there. You think they want to associate with the Palestinian or with the Israeli?
No, they're not going to. Whoever is in the canton will make up their mind what they want. They determine the canton. It's going to be an Israeli canton no matter what. It'll be an Israeli-Palestinian canton or an Israeli Jewish canton or an Israeli Arab canton, whatever they choose. Nobody's telling them what they want to call themselves. So that's not an issue. The country is Israel. And the cantons are Israeli cantons. They're Israeli Palestinian cantons or Israeli Jewish cantons.
That's fascinating map. So Gaza, look at that. Gaza is so tiny in comparison.
Yeah, it's not big, but it's actually it's about, I think its length is about 60 kilometers and 60 and 15 to 20 kilometers across or something like that. But there's no real problem of land, and also I'm sure that Egypt could be asked to provide some additional land. I don't think that's a real issue.
You think they would? Because I know the Egyptians are wary of the Hamas influence and its influence.
Yes, the Egyptians don't want Gaza. So this arrangement where Gaza is separate is good for everybody.
So now for Israeli Arabs, there are Israeli Arabs who identify as Palestinians. There are Israeli Arabs who identify as Israelis. And some of them volunteer in the armed forces, for example, as representative speaker, president of the court, things like that. So where would they line up? What do you think? How would they line up?
They are very much in support of this. They're the biggest, they love this arrangement. I mean, the two-state solution for them is problematic because if there are two states, they have an issue of possible dual loyalty, and there would be a danger that the Israeli right wing would want to push them out into their state. Okay, so if we're in a one-state scenario, I call this a hybrid one-state because Gaza is not part of it. So it's a hybrid one-state scenario. They are all in favor. They're all in favor, and many Palestinians are too. Okay, the Palestinians are I've talked to them, and I've talked to quite a lot of them. They are at the stage where they say, if we get equal rights, we don't care what it says on the passport. Okay, they're not happy with the Palestinian Authority.
Now, let's consider now the question of the character of the state of Israel. It's the greatest experiment, I would say, to redefine the trajectory of the Jewish people since the Maccabees. So you mentioned by cutting off Gaza, you think you can protect the demography, but in what way does it become then a Jewish state? How do you maintain the Jewish character?
Well, first of all, the state will remain Jewish by virtue of the fact, a Jewish state or a state for the Jewish people by virtue of the fact that it's a majority Jewish. So that will have an impact, okay? And the way we envisage it will have the flag of Israel and have the anthem of Israel, at least for many, many years, okay? I don't. The issue is that, you know, when we get to the stage we start arguing about the flag and the anthem, we're really in good shape. We are really in good shape if we get to that. Okay, but I don't think it'll even. I've talked to Palestinian or Israeli Arab politicians and members of parliament. They're not concerned about the flag. Okay, they're concerned about equal rights. And there are many European democracies which in the flag still have the original signs of their nation, the nations that founded these democracies, but the countries are already citizen states. Okay, so it's not an issue. It's not a big issue.
Like the Union Jack.
Yeah, like the Union Jack.
Except they may be falling apart. Now, what about then, because tied in with that is the idea of the right of return, which is the state of Israel's claim on us, is that it's our homeland. We have a place when things go sour. A lot of Jews in the United States are worried. So we would have, well, Palestinians would want the same. So how do we handle that?
Well, the way to go, first of all, we have to realize that this is an emotional issue more than it's a practical issue. Okay, it's an emotional issue both for the Jews and for the Palestinians. The Jews don't want any restrictions, of course, and the Palestinians don't want any restrictions either. But just to talk about it is a major issue, is a major problem. You know, the way the moment you talk about the right of return for the Palestinians, the people scream you down. Okay. But the way to go about it is, first of all, to realize that it's practically not a big issue because the numbers that would be involved are small. And the way to go about it in the way we propose is to, over a period of time, normalize immigration policy, meaning that whoever has ties to the land, either Jews or Palestinians, can apply for immigration. And they would be admitted based on a quota system, which initially would be geared to maintain the population balance. But over time, I think people will, you know, it won't make a difference in long term anymore. So what it would theoretically mean that for every 2 Jews, 1 Palestinian can immigrate under that arrangement once we've reached that agreement. This is something which I don't expect to go into operation from the beginning, and just talking about it, I feel comfortable talking with American Jews about it because I don't think that's a major problem. But with Israelis, this is a big issue. Okay, this is a difficult subject to talk about.
So the other question is now, why would the Palestinians want to admit that those Jews in the Jewish entity have a right to be in the Jewish entity? Because that tugs at the heart of their eternal complaint. The recognition is, the non-recognition is mutual. Purely, this is an emotional issue. We don't recognize the Palestinian as a nation, big, you know, all things considered, we don't. Okay, we don't say, we are a binational state now, but we don't admit it, okay, as if that makes a difference. And the Palestinians keep telling us that we're actually European colonialists and we have no business being here. The moment you go down, you leave that conversation and you say, like what we do, we say, I don't care where everybody is from, we both have the right to live on the whole country, in the whole land, and we have to get along with each other. And this is the best way to go about it, okay? There's no issue. Eventually, there is no issue. There are ideologues who try to keep telling us that we're not really, don't have the right and we're colonialists. But once you get to resolve the issues, you understand that this isn't for real. It's a made-up political issue to keep politicians busy. Okay, so now how do you get the Palestinian Authority to come along? Because basically you're dismantling their
They're unlikely to come along, even though I met a representative from the Palestinian Authority a few days ago and I gave him my book. I don't think he's going to buy into it. No, the Palestinian Authority is very unlikely to buy into it. And it doesn't really concern to the extent that we may have to implement this unilaterally up to a point. What I mean unilaterally, set up the structure and then have the Palestinians vote on it, or the canton, the Palestinian canton vote on it, okay? And once they are in a situation where they get to vote on becoming Israeli citizens, they're going to vote for it, okay? That I'm, regardless what the Palestinian Authority says. So the Palestinian Authority will have the choice to join the club and then, get voted into the cantons if they get voted into them, or just be flooded away with reality.
So it's undoing the Oslo Accords.
This is a different ball game. This is a different ball game altogether. Actually, the Oslo Accords talked about Palestinian autonomy. Okay, it didn't talk about the Palestinian state,
right.
And we are actually here talking about Palestinian autonomy and Jewish autonomy in a united citizen state. Okay, that's actually the scheme.
So now security, that probably is the biggest worry, security, because I don't see any Israeli defense official giving the keys away to, 1/3 of the Air Force away.
First of all, security-wise, this is the wet dream of every Israeli rightist. Okay, because we have the borders along the Jordan River. We control the whole territory. Every canton will have internal security forces, which will be provided by the canton, and there will be federal armies in the country wherever it's needed. So that's not an issue. Of course, there will be an intermediate period, from where we are now to where we get to the federation, because you can't create 30 cantons in one go. You have to create cantons slowly, and you have to come them online three in a row over a period of years, and this will take years. Okay, this probably will take decades. And when I presented this plan to Swiss tourists, and they know something about federation, they asked me how long do I think this will take, and I said it will take probably about 20 years or something. So they laughed at me, and they said this is going to take 50 years, if not more. Okay. Which is not a bad thing if we do it in the right way, because it gives people a horizon.
It's not an overnight thing that suddenly, boom, we solve the whole problem.
No,
it's a way to develop.
Yes,
probably the best allies are the business people in the West Bank. I know that I once met an Egyptian-born fellow here whose wife is the daughter of the big billionaire in the West Bank. Masri, is that the guy's name?
Masri.
Yeah. And he was very excited about cooperation with Jews and with Israelis. This was interesting. So probably the business people are the ones.
For the economy, this is a great boon. There was an article in The Economist a couple of years ago, which said that Israel's high-tech industry cannot keep up the rates of growth if it doesn't incorporate the Palestinians and the Haredim into the industry. And there was just a week ago, the Israeli government permitted another quota of 500 Palestinians to work in high tech in Israel. So we're going that way slowly but surely. But a federation would clinch it for good.
Okay, let's see. Movement. So I think we covered actually a lot of the ground on this. And I'm just looking at my notes. Education system. Education
system would be for the cantons, but there would be a federal requirement to learn 2 languages and basic civics and history, which would be common to the whole country. So the country would become bilingual. That would be a requirement. But other than that, education would be like in the United States by the states. It would be here like by the cantons. Other than for that core curriculum, which would include both languages and history and civics.
So if you have an area like Jerusalem or around the Bnei Brak area, they're going to have a more traditionalist bent in their education.
Absolutely. Everywhere, yeah.
North Tel Aviv be like, I don't know, like New York, I don't know, whatever. In the
More secular in any way. Yeah.
But you would allow for regional.
Yes, no, it would be education would be according to the cantons, according to the regions, according to the population in the cantons, and there would of course also be private education. You know, we want
with language. Officially, Israelis are supposed to have a year of Arabic in school. None of them learn it.
Yeah, it doesn't. It's not practice.
I think there's a lot more Arabs who speak Hebrew. Hebrew is easier for an Arab than Arabic is for an Israeli, for a Hebrew speaker.
I don't know. It's just that we don't. We're not. You know, we're not exposed to the language as we should be. But this will have to go. We'll have to become bilingual. You know, as a method, not.
This also be involved in the Middle East anyway. We need that.
Yeah, this incidentally is another. We would then Israel would then become part of the Middle East and would not be a European island in the Middle East.
I assume we're also getting the Emirates to buy into this, and some of the more.
I'm trying. It's not easy to get a response at this time, but I'm doing my best. If anybody in your community has any contacts in the United Arab Emirates or in Bahrain, please.
Yeah. So, Carmen and then Dr. Moon. Right. Look at the Western Wall. There was a fight this week about women at the wall. Yeah. So, what do you do with the legal status? Yeah. So, Carmen is asking, what happens with the issue of the religious authorities? And it would be true for the Muslims as for the Jews.
The state would be a secular state. Okay, there would be a secular constitution. There would be a separation of religion and government. There has to be some freedom with relation to what the cantons can do. Maybe, you know, definitely with regard to the day of rest and things like that. But we will not enable a Sharia canton or a Halacha canton. And of course, all the streams of Judaism would be equally appropriate, accommodated in this arrangement. Okay, there wouldn't be an Orthodox an Orthodox authority which would run anything. Okay, so
it might be that each canton would reflect the population to some extent.
Each canton would reflect, but the secular constitution they will not be able to break the secular constitution.
So if someone would want to get married, but is not going to go to the Rabbanut, he would have a secular marriage.
There would be civil marriage, obviously.
It actually exists in Israel, the contractual arrangements.
Yeah, but there shouldn't be any reason. There is no. Actually, the new Minister of Religious Affairs is trying to install some kind of civil marriage now in Israel. So we're already moving into that direction. But the federation we're talking about, that will be clearly will not be an issue.
Yeah, Dr. Norman, go ahead.
Sir, first of all, very honored to have you. Secondly, if you refer to the book written by Rabbi Sachs, Lord Jonathan Sachs, The Dignity of Difference, he is mentioning that the root of the problem is the religion.
Okay.
My question is, how do you resolve the fundamental Islamists who are there, who are in the area, who are totally against the existence of the state of Israel?
Okay.
That is a real problem there, real matter.
Okay. I want to say that I value Rabbi Sachs very much, but I disagree with him. There are religious issues in this conflict, obviously, but this is not a religious conflict. This is a conflict. Our conflict with the Palestinians is a conflict over rights and over land. And also there are religious aspects. Both sides, both the Jews and the Palestinians, are trying to get the religious people on both sides are trying to make it a religious conflict, because if it is a religious conflict, it's intractable. Okay, so there's an interest on the extremes on both sides to make it a religious project. And I encountered what you just said. I encountered, here in Israel a lot. People say, "Oh, this is a religious conflict. It's never going to, we'll never be able to resolve it. The Islamists." I spent 2 years living in a Muslim country. Okay, and Islam can deal with secular politics, and Islamists can and Muslims can live with non-Muslims in peace. Okay, so the religious, I would like the religious authorities on both sides, or religious people on both sides, to be part of this effort to work this out. This will definitely help, and we have on the federation team, we have a rabbi, or actually more than one, and and there are probably also some, the Palestinians in many instances are traditional, so they're so semi-religious, they're not Islamists. Again, once we solve the issue of rights and land, there won't be very much left to fight about. And I'm pretty sure that even Jews will have no problem praying on the Temple Mount once that the national conflict is dissolved. Okay, so I feel very confident about it. I've talked to a lot of people about it, and I get a lot of support on that line of thinking. I hope that answers you.
In Muslim countries, Islam is losing steam. But in Europe, for example, the Islamists are very strong. It's like when you live.
They're under pressure. They're under pressure. When Islamists go to Europe, they see all this freedom, so they have to go the other way to keep their faith.
So when you live under it, you don't want it.
Yeah. So, but again, religion is an issue, but it's not a deal breaker by any means. I hope that answered your question to some extent.
Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
Do you have a page on YouTube?
I'm just setting that up. I have a lot of videos on YouTube, also in English. I'm mainly on Facebook. I have a page called the Federation Movement in English, which has all the videos on it. And the same videos are also on YouTube, but I don't think I haven't set up a YouTube channel yet, which I'm doing that these days.
Okay, please do it. What is the book that you talk?
The book is called Identity: The Quest for Israel's Future. I think Rabbi Nobet will be able to give you the link. It's on Amazon.
Now, I don't agree with you. You put a rose picture, and it's not true. You see how the Christian get slaughtered and killed in the Muslim countries. You can see in Bethlehem how many Christians really we have. You can see all what's going on in Egypt with the Coptic, how they're killing them. You see how did this? What you talking? What you doing, Rosie? It's not true.
We're not talking.
Now I'm talking. I didn't interrupt you. Okay. We see how in Gaza, what happened in Gaza. Okay.
Yeah. Simon, he said Gaza's out of the picture. That, for example,
we are not a Muslim country. Muslims are a minority in Israel. We have for 70 years lived with a 20% Muslim minority, and it's been pretty good. We had some problems recently, which are the result of 70 years of discrimination and neglect, and also other things. There's absolutely no problem of living together in peace with Muslims in a Jewish majority country, and there won't be. So you don't have to look at countries where there are severe issues of democracy and severe issues of Islamism. I'm quite confident that I'm not talking. I'm based on what I say. Also from my personal experience living in a Muslim country.
Because I was saying it's not an overnight. You're talking about what, 20 to 50
No,
years
this is a lengthy
process. I know Americans like to resolve everything yesterday.
Yeah.
That's an American inclination.
Yeah.
Other people in the world have long range. The Chinese look at Taiwan, and another 100 years won't be a problem for them.
Absolutely.
Right? They took a long range on Hong Kong. So there's a difference between a long range perspective and 1-2 on the spot. But it also it takes pressure off of the American government, the Europeans, to say, "Oh, you have to have a solution now," because they're working on it.
Yeah, well, the Europeans, they'll go along with anything we agree on with the Palestinians. It's difficult to get them to join such a thing before the Palestinians have said, "Oh, we'll go with it." But I have no doubt they will, and I feel confident about the Americans too. I have made several efforts to engage the U.S. government at this time to no without success, but they'll come on board. I'm not concerned about that.
By the way, just an aside, not separate from the Palestinian issue, the idea of a canton system is something that many people in the Israeli political establishment have wished for, because it enables local representation to control who's going to Knesset rather than some abstract party list. I understand that would be...
Yeah, by the way, the rabbi correctly said, we just recently had the Ministry of Interior had a committee make a report to restructure the Israeli regional government, and what they're basically proposing is the federal system. They don't use the word federation or federal, but they describe such a system of provinces, of 20 provinces, and autonomous government, regional government. So we are getting there as it is already, without the political aspects.
That would be an important, very important reform inside the Israeli system itself.
Absolutely.
It's a power to the people. It's devolution, right? It's bring it back down to
it would, yeah.
Okay, very interesting. I tell you what, we are running up on the climate. I want to thank you because it's, maybe we can have something later on also, just as a follow-up, because on what you're doing with this, the Israeli movement also is fascinating. But I appreciate this is Motzei Shabbat, Saturday night. You could be out with your friends having a coffee at Kassit instead, and you're here.
I enjoy being.
Although Thursday night's the bigger party night now. That's what
Thursday night is, yeah.
But
well, I enjoyed being with you, and I'm available, so you can engage me directly.
If people want to contact, I'm going to do a clip of this session, so it'll be up on YouTube and Facebook, so you can share it, other people can share it. We have people who are watching online, just on Zoom, but also on Facebook and YouTube. I want to thank you very much. We need, whatever the solution, the two states not working, a one state without any definition of who's going to be what is difficult. So here's a workabout, and that's basically what you're offering us. Yeah. Are you in touch with Palestinians on this? Yeah. Yeah. Oh, for a second. Are you in touch with Palestinians on this?
Are you asking me?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yes, of course. I'm in touch with Palestinians all the time. The issue is one of the issues is that we're doing that not so openly, for a simple reason that the more I'm in touch with Palestinians and make a fuss about it, the more the Jews will get suspicious. because the Israelis look at this and they say, if the Palestinians like this, this isn't any good. There's something wrong with it. So I have to be careful, and I have to manage the context thing. We have a federal forum, which is getting more time engagement now, where all the organizations which promote federations or federal solutions are together, and that we have Palestinian participants. So this is, we're keeping an eye on things, and we're keeping in touch. So
I have a writer I have to get you in touch with. He was a teacher in the school that was in this building many, many years ago, Jewish high school, but he's Egyptian Coptic. And he wrote a novel of somebody who becomes the Israeli prime minister, who on the side has an affair with somebody who is a leading figure in the Palestinians. He's trying to resolve this odd couple situation. That's what we have, an odd couple situation. I think that'll be an interesting contact for you.
Sure.
I want to thank you very much. Okay, and
thank you, and have a nice Shabbat, rest of Shabbat.
Okay,
and it was great being with you. Shabbat tov. Thank you.
Okay, and we're going to round up. Let's go and get the main screen back up, and we'll finish Adon Olam together and break for Kiddush. You're welcome to join us. Adon Olam, page 514. Adon Olam Asher Malach B'terem kol Yetzir Nivra Le'nasa b'chefzo kol Azai Melech Shemo Nikra B'acharei Tichlot HaKol Levado Yimloch Nora V'hu haya v'hu hove V'hu yeh b'tifara V'hu echad ve'ein sheni V'hamshir lo להחבירה בלי ראשית ובלי תכלית ולא העוז והמשרד הוא אלי וחי גואלי וצורכני בעת צרה והוא ניסי ומנוס לי מנת כוסי ביום אקרא בידו אפקיד רוחי ויהי שם ויעירה וימרוחי גביעתי אדוני לי ולא יירא. Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom. Everybody. Okay.